with practices for the Reese's Senior Bowl kicking off this week and the game coming up Saturday, February 4th in Mobile, Alabama, I have to bring in Executive Director Jim Nagy. Jim, how much are you going to miss the Lions coaching staff not being there this year?
I was just going to say that. I was going to miss the whole Detroit operation. Timmy O'Neill on the equipment side, all the guys. No, it's going to be different without you guys. It was a really fun year last year.
This year, the coaches, it's a little bit more of a different layout. You don't have two NFL squads going down there to coach this game. You have a plethora of different assistant coaches heading down there. So what is the new layout for the coaching?
So we've got a collection of assistants from all the non-playoff teams. So, a couple of the teams didn't submit coaches because of the coaching turnover thing. But so 16 teams, 30 coaches, pulling that all in together. So Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator of the Bears, is one of the head coaches. And that's a good sell for us with the players. They've got the number one pick in the draft. And then Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, will be on the other side. And it's a great opportunity for our players. When I got the call over the summer about this, change up that the league office wanted to do, it made me shake my head a little bit. But the more I thought about it, this is a good thing for our players because they're going to be exposed to, rather than just last year, Detroit and the Jets. It's 16 teams are going to be leaving Mobile with all the behind the scenes access that you saw last year, in the meeting rooms and having meals together and all those little nice takeaways that you can get when you coach in the Senior Bowl. Now that's spread out, amongst half the league and half the league that's drafted in the top half of the draft. So it's a good thing for our guys.
You will have one Detroit Lions assistant coach down there. It's Dion Hamilton. He's fresh out of the NFL. He's only spent 1 year so far with the Lions as an assistant coach. What advantage is there having a guy like Dion Hamilton down there who just got out of the league and can coach these players?
Well, crazy enough, like sometimes when you go into a school as a scout, some of the coaching staffs will say that. They'll be like, when this guy's done playing, he's going to be a great coach someday. And that's exactly what the guys in Tuscaloosa said about Dion coming out. He was kind of the brains of the operation on that defense. I want to say he played with Reuben Foster and obviously Alabama, you always have a bunch of first rounders. That was a great defense he played on. So just talking to Brad Holmes about it. I thought he would want Dion to come down here and coach his position, that he played linebacker. And he was like, Nags, we had him in the DB room this year and he did an awesome job. So he's going to be down here coaching the corners. So in a really cool for us, there's a local tie there with Dion being from Montgomery, which is just, 2.5 hours up the road. So kind of a homecoming for him.
Can you help us crunch the numbers a little bit? How many players you had in last year's Reese's Senior Bowl were either drafted or found themselves on NFL playing rosters this past season?
We had 106 drafted out of like 120 for the second year in a row. It's kind of a bummer. I always like to get better every year, and we kind of stayed the same at 106. Of those this year, I think 107 made roster at some point in the year. So the 107 out of like 120 that actually made rosters as rookies is we're happy with that. We're happy for those guys. I think we're in our first 4 years now of draft classes. A little over 88% of our guys have made NFL rosters their first year.
Which position group are you most excited to watch this upcoming week?
Well, it's not really a position of need for the Detroit Lions, where they got Senior Bowl alum Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift. But our running back group, I'm really excited about. Kenny McIntosh from Georgia is a really explosive player. He's played in a rotation a bunch there in Athens, but I think he's going to have a monster week. I think he's an NFL starter, just carrying on that lineage of great Georgia running backs that includes DeAndre Swift. Chase Brown, who a lot of Michigan State fans will be familiar with, the great Illinois running back, had a great year for the Illini. A guy that maybe you haven't heard a lot about yet, but you will, is Tyjae Spears, a running back from Tulane, who's here in our backyard. We saw Tyjae play a bunch this fall and really capped off his great career in the Cotton Bowl against USC with 5 touchdowns. They couldn't tackle the guy. And he's a junior. So he's a 3-year player at Tulane and graduated and did what he had to do in the classroom. And now he's coming out here. And so I think there's going to end up being, maybe 3, 4, 5 NFL starters coming out of this running back group, which traditionally that's a difficult position. We got Dameon Pierce behind me right now, who probably would have, had a good chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year had he not gotten hurt late in the year for the Texans. He was a great one. But that's a tough position because most of those guys, if they're really good, they bounce as juniors.
Are there any big names that you're seeing pop up on that defensive side that Detroit Lions fans should maybe pay attention to?
Well, you got to add pieces on defense, but man, did Dan and Brad Holmes do a great job in last year's draft. You look at and some of them didn't do it out of the chute, but they took advantage. Kirby Joseph, the one guy the Lions picked out of the game, played great for y'all, and obviously everyone knows Rodrigo from Hard Knocks the year he had, and James Houston, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, that's four, really cornerstone pieces for that Detroit Lions defense in one draft haul. That's great. They did a great job. Some of the bigger names down here, Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame is one, a pass rusher coming off a couple of double-digit sack years for the Fighting Irish. A guy I'm excited to see if you need more pass rush is Keon White from Georgia Tech. Is a guy that has some inside-outside pass rush versatility, a little bit like Josh Paschal, probably a tick higher as an athlete. But that's one of the reasons we loved Josh Paschal last year coming out of Kentucky was the versatility. So, it's a really good linebacker crew. I know, Rodrigo had a really good year, and our guy, Derek Barnes, we love Derek Barnes, but, the group, Deion Henley from Washington State, DeMarvion Overshawn from Texas, a lot of speed at linebacker in our linebacker group.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited. If fans are heading down to Mobile this year to watch this game, watch some practices, what events can they expect to be down there going on?
Well, Danny, you've been down here. Like, practice is an event, at the new stadium with the Jumbotron and the LED ribbons and the music, blaring. It's got a great vibe. Practices are a lot of fun. If you're a hardcore football person, you like to get in the action. I mean, you can literally get right on top of these drills. So that's a lot of fun. Thursday night, we have our Senior Bowl Summit event. Joey Molinaro, the great impressionist who had a good time on the stage last year with Dan Campbell. I think the audience could have listened to Dan and Joey up there for about 3 hours. They could have taken over the whole show. But he's going to be back. And the theme this year is it's a stage divided. We have these house divided flags down here in the South. I don't know if people up there have them with Michigan State.
Michigan. My parents have one. Yes, they do.
My wife and I have a Michigan, Alabama one. So it's a thing down here, and it's going to be a stage divided. It's going to be Alabama and Auburn legends. So on the Alabama side, it's great ones. Sean Alexander, Cornelius Bennett, Ozzie Newsome, three of the all-time Tide greats. And then on the Auburn side, Ronnie Brown, Jason Campbell, and Willie Anderson, who's up for he's a Hall of Fame finalist this year for Canton. So and who's also a Mobile native. So we got that going on. We've got the Players Mardi Gras Parade, which coincides with actual Mardi Gras last year. So we are rolling the first night of the first Mardi Gras parade, the Conde Cavaliers, and talking to the city. They expect 60 to 100,000 people downtown for that event. So our guys will be rolling first. It's going to be a madhouse. And then we're having a free concert with Nelly in Mardi Gras Park downtown, kind of adjacent to where you guys stayed last year at the Renaissance Hotel. Mm-hmm. So big week. If you got a group of people, I always think it's like a great boys weekend or something like that for a bunch of football fans. You got Thursday practice, Thursday night summit, Friday with the parade and the concert, and then Saturday's game day. And obviously that's a blast as well. So got a lot going on. Got kind of a 3-ring circus down here, Danny, as you've seen.
I will say it's a girls' weekend too. I thoroughly enjoyed just the college football ranks again. That was awesome, Jim. Last but not least from me, what is just the biggest thing you want these players to take away from Senior Bowl week, which they're probably on their heels and maybe a little bit nervous heading into?
Yeah, they all have anxiety, and I probably see it more on this side than I did when I was down here scouting for 20 years. I see it through a little different lens, and there's a lot of that. It's a stressful week, kind of by design. The NFL is a stressful league. I mean, you live it, Danny, with these guys behind the scenes every day. It's a hard league, and we try to tax them. I mean, they're going to be in interviews with all 32 teams and then absorbing a playbook and going out on the field and actually performing and applying that playbook. And I just want them to have a great overall experience. Again, I think the one thing we can always sell at the Senior Bowl is the connections to the teams. And, I think we have 30 of the 32 GMs are credentialed to come down during the week, and all the key decision makers from the team. So really making those connections, and in what you've seen is it's a laid back setting. It's not as corporate as the combine. It's not as, you get a lot more time, a lot more relaxed time around these guys to show the NFL teams who you really are. Because, as scouts, they've been, that whole front office, Brad Holmes and all those guys, Lance Newmark, they've been in these schools all fall, hearing from coaches and staff members what these players are. You finally get to meet them in Mobile. And so I hope these guys all have a great experience and take advantage of the opportunity of just being down here around the NFL for a week.
They sure will. Jim, thank you so much. Good luck this entire week, hoping for another successful Reese's Senior Bowl.
Thanks, Danny. We need it. It's always a lot going on. So we'll take the good luck wishes. Thanks a lot. And congrats on an awesome Lions season.
Thank you.